Hey everyone, welcome back to the Beast Studio, and today I'm with a brand new video for you guys. This is something that I really don't think anyone's done. I mean, I've seen different like Pinterest and Twitter and things like that where they've try to do ranking these kind of moments, but I just thought I would get on here, and this is gonna be two parts. This one is mainly consisting of the negative side of scenes, while the next one is consisting of the better scenes, in my opinion. However, there are still some good scenes. That I've written down. So I'm just going to kind of be going through each one. There's eight. And let me just say, I really do love their relationship. I think seeing all their tropes on Shipping Wiki, it shows that these two have a long history, like a long history together. And I think it has to, at some point, they have to have a relationship somehow. Unfortunately, after 508, it just doesn't look like it's going to happen, unfortunately. But we just gotta wait. All Barchies have to have hope. Okay, so coming in eighth place, we have Archie snapping at Betty in 502. So the context here was Archie was just stressed out. He's been dealing with a lot of grief, and that tape came in his breakup with Veronica. He's pretty much been going over his head here. And Betty says, Arch, is something wrong? And Archie's like, are you kidding me, Betty? What isn't wrong? So he's hurt. I get that. But I still don't want him snapping at Betty. Did he have the right to necessarily? I mean, I get that, like, Betty is also in the wrong here because she hasn't told Jughead. She's, like, keeping, like, things like nothing's ever happened. But I don't know. I just still felt like he shouldn't have snapped at her. And it was just a very disappointing moment for all these Barchie fans because I really don't like to see them angry. We've only really even seen them angry over the course of this series like a few times, and I feel like the second half of the season is going to be more of that. I think the angsty side of Barchie, I feel weird for saying that, is going to come back even more during the second half of the season. So, yeah, I just didn't really like him snapping at her. Okay, coming in seventh place, we have Archie playing for Betty. Well, not necessarily for Betty, but for the group, and then Betty running off and crying from 102. So yeah, this is after Archie has rejected her, and pretty much he is playing his music, and she really just like looks at him, and she has tears like slowly coming down, and she just cannot handle him playing because she heard so much from his rejection because she thought he felt a certain way about her. But he didn't feel that way. So then she runs off, and then this is also one of their angsty moments, and she just kind of like says, when I think of us, I feel safe, like in a booth at Pops, and now I still don't feel I don't feel safe really necessarily anymore because what I wanted to I just don't want that to go away. And then she's of course like doesn't want that to go away, which I think is pretty fair. I mean, you have this best long term friendship with someone, and you really don't want them to mess up with like rejection. Speaking of rejection, sixth place, we have rejection scene from 101. Pretty much this is after the spin the ball to party where Betty's already told Archie about her feelings. And pretty much Archie says, I'm not good enough for you, Betty. I never will be. I'm really sorry, but this can't happen. And we have this really sweet music, If You Loved Me by Blake Nestle, I think, is the artist's name, playing in the background. I think it's just really, really sweet. And I like I like how they portrayed it, but I'm still upset because I feel like sure Archie maybe did love Betty, but I feel like all the signs were there that he did, and like he broke Betty's heart, and I just feel like we were misled in that way. Sure, they were still like the epic romance by the end of the pilot, but I don't know. It still felt like they kind of like played us there because sure it was good what was said, but I still just felt we kind of felt betrayed because we knew that Archie liked Betty in some way, but he still couldn't be with her. Sure, he had other options, but. And then coming in fifth place, we have the rejection scene from 418. No, this one I just like a little bit better because she kind of tells it to him straight, and there's sure Archie's confused, but the person who's saying it isn't confused this time. Like you could tell Archie was so confused while rejecting her at 101. But Betty was straightforward here in 418. Pretty much she says, I love Jughead, you love Veronica, this can't work. It just can't. Like, whatever this is or was, it's just over. And I know that all these Barchie fans probably lost a lot of hope after that, but I almost did for a while, and then the time jump came, and, well, that's a whole other different story, and I'll get to that later on, that specific stuff. But I felt like that was, like, better said, but still really upset because you could tell that Archie was so heartbroken. You could tell that Betty was crying when saying it. And at the end of this emotional affair, it's really ended in a sad way, but I still just didn't really like it because it just felt like the feelings that they had, Like, she made it seem like all these feelings are just manifested because we're graduating in a few weeks. And I just didn't really feel that way. I feel like they could have said it in a better way because they do have more feelings for each other than that. Coming up in fourth place, we have the shower sex scene from 505. Um, okay, so I think they needed to get their feelings out there somehow. They needed to start this friends with benefits out with they need to start it out really good. They really need to start it out like huge. Um, and they did it that way. And I mean, I'm not one to like discuss like and break down sex scenes. I felt like sure it might have been passionate and but I didn't think it was romantic, honestly. I felt like there was like so many different like weird emotions going on, and I felt like it was still rushed in that episode. And sure, I think the episodes that follow are better with it than this, but this just felt really weird, very raunchy, very. I mean, I get that they're in their 20s now, but very weird for a CW show. They really showed a lot that I don't think they need to be showed. So I really just felt like it was really out of place, and I think they went a little bit too far. Sure, it was the moment that you've been waiting for 5 seasons, and I think it still had some value to it and meaning, but I just wasn't really a big fan of it. Um, Number three, we have the Act of True Love from 209. So yeah, pretty much Betty has to bury Archie alive, or the Black Hood's gonna shoot her. They're on this kind of mission, and pretty much she actually buries him, and Archie has to go under to protect Betty from getting shot. And it really shows he cares about Betty, romantic or not. He does care about her, and I think we've gotten that in all 5 seasons of the show. He really does care about Betty. And I think that's really, really sweet. Honestly, it really, really is sweet, and I think it shows how much he cares about her. Okay, coming up in second place here, we have their first kiss from 209. Okay, so I felt like this was like a little like sweet kiss. It was probably well, not least favorite, obviously, because of the shower scene, but one of my least favorite kisses because I don't know, it felt like so weird. I mean, I get it was like their first kiss, so like it wasn't gonna be necessarily really romantic, and it was just like a spur of the moment thing. But like they also didn't talk about it afterwards, and they just really didn't explore the drama that they probably could have. I mean, at that time, I was very Buckhead and Barchie supporters, so they probably were too scared to do Barchie at that point. But I felt like why include the kiss then? Sure, it was like a sweet kiss, and it was meaningful too because it showed that they were in this tough situation together and they need to stick together. But yeah, I just felt a little bit weird that they even kissed in the first place. So okay, coming up in first place, we have the friend zone scene from 508. So yeah, probably the most controversial scene in the Riverdale fandom, probably this specific scene, and then the following Varchi reunion scene. And here's the problem here, okay? Is that Archie admits that he already had feelings for Veronica, which it was good that he did, but of course she has to be a part of this when she doesn't need to be. Like, Veronica doesn't need to be included in this at all, even though she kind of is because it's a triangle still. It's going to be a triangle for the rest of the show, probably, because I mean, they haven't done it correctly, but I feel like it's gonna happen at some point. Like we're really gonna get into it, but then she says that we're supposed to make sense on paper. We would be together, but deep in our cores, we are such different people. I don't want my darkness to overtake you. So she pretty much just says all of that, and it makes it seem like they're not compatible when I think that they really are. Like, why aren't they? They simply made them not like work good together, and they didn't delve into the why don't they work together? If anything that they do, they are similar people, like. And it just frustrates me. And of course, sure, it was like a sweet scene. I mean, I give it like a higher score for that because it was such a sweet scene. A lot of good things about it, but like still, it was just frustrating, honestly. It was frustrating to see Archie kind of being dumb. And of course, Betty had the power, but of course, she rejected him too, kind of. I mean, not like a full out rejection, but there's just so many factors here that just makes it seem like off. Like, we wanted like this relationship to explore and turn into a real relationship, like a power couple, because that's what they are. Look at how they fought the ghoulies out in 505. Look at how they stopped the fire in 506. They really are the power couple, but unfortunately they just didn't do that because they were too scared. They couldn't give Barchie a real relationship for several reasons. But yeah, so yeah, next week I'm going to be talking about more of the top scenes. So that was kind of like 1 through 8 part, like the part one scene. So my least favorite moment was Archie snapping at Betty in 502, and my, I guess, favorite moment of this section was the friend zone scene because it was really well shot and written. But I'm going to get off of here. So, anyways, thanks for watching my studio. Like, comment, subscribe, comment down below your rankings, and bye.